Hi, everyone. This is Susan Farnham. I'm the Services Manager at the Forest Park Public Library. As you know, we have been doing an interview series with people and organizations around Forest Park that serve our community and especially our families. So today I have a very special guest with me, Shettima Webb from Model Esteem, which is one of our newer businesses in Forest Park. We wanted to tell you all about it. Welcome today, Shettima.
Thank you, Susan, for having me. Hello, Forest Park. Thank you so much for welcoming me and being in the community. I am new to Forest Park. It will be a year in September. And then I also decided to actually move here. So not only do I have a business here, I also am a resident here as well. And I've had a great experience with the community. I know with COVID, people were just a little bit tad bit leery, but as things are trying to get back to normal, hopefully. People have been coming out and supporting Model Esteem. I have the Model Esteem Marketplace, which is a retail store at 7451 Madison Street. So, you guys can stop by there and come and see me. But what I'm here to talk about today is Model Esteem being a modeling program that I'm going to be doing in conjunction with the Forest Park Library. So that's what I kind of started out doing modeling, helping youth as well as adults. I struggled with self-esteem issues as a child. I was bullied, I was teased, and so I didn't feel pretty enough, I didn't feel good enough. Modeling most definitely was a way in order for me to kind of come into my own. So I wanted to be able to share that particular joy with youth to kind of help them with their particular self-esteem issues and to kind of show, as well as adults, and kind of show that there are different forms of beauty in all of us. It doesn't always have to be just one type of beauty. And the core value of it all is that whether you decide that you want to be a professional model, which I can, teach you how to do that, but for you to feel good about yourself. So that is what Model Esteem core value is all about. And, getting some sass on, I'm sassy. That's my personality. So we got to put some sass into it. But the core value is to help you learn about the modeling industry as well as you first loving yourself.
That is a really beautiful origin story. I love that. And what
Mhm.
drew you to Forest Park in particular to set up shop here?
Sure. So I went to Proviso West. So my parents, we lived in the Austin area. And I think when I was about 8 years old, we moved to Bellwood. So I am from this particular area in the Western Burbs. And I have been doing things in the city in terms of with Model Esteem, helping youth in terms of with organizations. And when the pandemic hit, of course, everything shut down, right? And so I was kind of like, wow, like when things pick back up again, I'm at the mercy of if somebody would want to kind of bring me into their particular organization. It's kind of up to them in terms of space. So I was like, you know what? I think it's the time in order for me to get my own space. And beforehand, when I was doing my programs, I had been renting space and just kind of popping along here and there, and it can be very expensive, because you're subjected to those particular rental rates. So I was like, you know what? I want to I want to go ahead and find me a space. So I started looking online and it was very scary because it was during COVID. And I'm like, I must be out of my mind to try to get a lease now. But I felt in my spirit like the time was right. The time was right. And my first priority was to find something in the Western Burbs because I kind of felt like, and it's no knock in terms of, helping inner city youth and things of that nature. I think I will continue to always do that. But I'm from the West Burbs, and I kind of felt like that I needed to give attention to where I'm from. You know what I mean? Where I grew up at. And I think some of the misconceptions is that if you live in a suburban area, that the youth or the adults don't have any issues. And that's not necessarily true. Issues in terms of self-esteem, issues in terms of, you know, just trying to provide for your family. You know what I mean? So I said, I want to do something in the Western Burbs. And I was just happened to look up and find a place. And it happened to be on the main strip on Madison Street. So how lucky was I?
Very lucky. And
Very
I
lucky.
we're lucky too to have someone from the Proviso family in town like
Absolutely.
this. I think that's really great.
Mhm.
We love our Proviso family out here.
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say, we are so excited about this modeling program and all of the possibilities for it. What would you say are the ages that the program primarily serves?
So I'm open to really young children. I've taught all the way from 3 years old all the way to 99. Of course, with the younger children, I would kind of have to format it differently, right? It would kind of be, more bouncing and more, because I know you'll have to keep their particular attention span. But I never want to leave an opportunity in order for the young babies, in order to feel like that they are special as well. So I'm certainly open to that. But I would say that my core focus has been probably around that preteen area all the way up into adults. When I started Model Esteem, I started working with the preteens and teens because that's a very critical age where you are kind of coming into your own, if you're going to junior high. And I can remember me being teased in those particular times of my life where I really developed that self-esteem issue, right? And I didn't really have anybody to kind of tell me like, oh, everything is going to be, okay. My parents were around, but they were, busy being an adult, and I wasn't always vocal about what was going on with me. I kind of was very shy and very kind of just off to myself. So those are the critical ages where you kind of start to kind of come into your own, and then you have your teenage years where there's a lot of peer pressure. You starting to wear makeup, some people are starting to trying to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. All of us have kind of been through that. So, and you're looking at more of what society deems as beautiful. So I think, although I work with everyone across the board with the young kids, I think those are the critical ages. Then when I started Model Esteem, the adults were coming to me and saying, hey, what about us? Because I had to also realize that I really didn't deal with my self-esteem issues until I was an adult, right? And even with that, it's always not necessarily a struggle, but always a remembering of who you are, because there is always going to be something or someone that's going to tear you down for whatever reason that it is. And there's a lot of adults that have not dealt with whatever self-esteem issues that they may have. It doesn't necessarily have to be with looks. It could be with a job. It could be with a lack of education. It could be with, not having the income that you want. It could be with dealing with a bad relationship. You know what I'm saying? Or just us as women as a whole, not feeling good enough, not feeling pretty enough. So I started to incorporate adults, and I didn't want to leave anybody out.
I think you're absolutely right. I think I think that's not something that's limited to our young people at all. It is something a lot
Absolutely.
of us are still, even as adults, are struggling with. And I think with the way the internet is too, and
Yeah.
how commenting works, and how like you can get this really instant feedback from everybody, people you
Yeah.
don't know, like all over the place. It can be really easy for that to get in your head, I think. And
It
so these
does.
messages of positivity, empowerment, celebrating your identity and your shape, whatever that may happen to be, I think that's needed more than ever right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very important, because if you don't know who you are and you don't celebrate who you are, that kind of trickles down to every aspect of your life. And it kind of manifests itself in little areas of your life. So holistically as a whole, you have to, develop this sense of I am who I am. God made me to be who I am, and that just is what it is, honey. And so, I'm not going to be like somebody else, and that's okay. And that's okay. And that's what I want, people to understand and know. It's okay to be you.
When I was just getting acquainted with you and with Model Esteem, I was feeling like leadership seems to be one of the underlying points. And I feel like that's really coming through in a lot of the things you're saying right now. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Sure. So I come from a corporate America environment. I'm actually an accountant by day, so it's all business, you know. And so for me, the leadership aspect is that you are responsible for yourself and for your particular destiny, but then also you have a social responsibility to be a leader to help somebody else, right? I think oftentimes we get so engulfed into what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish. I know that I have done that we forget that we are here for a purpose and that we are here to be able to share our light to someone else. So sometimes with the classes, I've sat back and I would watch, particularly as it pertains to some of the youth, who's going to step up and be that leader, right? Who's going to step up and go, and if I'm over here, sometimes I'm purposely kind of over here doing something, and if somebody is not understanding like the step or the walk, it will be someone that will go over there and help that particular person, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love that, because even though I may be the leader per se with the program, I want to teach you how to be a leader so you can go forth and lead somebody else and help somebody else in your particular own way.
And I know you have a number of different options available for people. We certainly had a hard time deciding ourselves with those offerings. Do you want to talk to our community a little bit about some of the options that are out there for them right now?
Sure. So I have a few options available. One is that if you just want to just kind of learn how to walk in heels, or learn how to stride, or learn how to have better posture, I have a class for that for both youth as well as adults, male and female. So it's no pressure in order for you to kind of be a model. This is just like a fun class. For you to kind of learn and just kind of be a model for a day. I call that a model for a day. Also offer photo shoots where you can get all dressed up, put some makeup on, some different clothing and styling from our retail store that we have, or you can bring your own stuff. And that's a model for a day, just some fun memories. Then I have a program is that if you are really interested in being a model, for me, I started out being a freelance model here in Chicago, just doing runway. And it was really for fun until I started to educate myself as to what lane I fit in. And I have I'm signed with 3 agencies in which I do auditions. And when I book work, I get paid. And although I'm cute, right? I'm cute, honey, right? I do not look like the typical model that you think would be a model. And so that's that educational piece. What I'm a plus size model, and I'm a commercial print lifestyle model. So you will learn as to where you will fit in, and I'm not a spring chicken either, right? Because sometimes it is always given to the youth that you have to be youth, right? Because you kind of feel like nobody wants to, see someone who's older than 20 years old. Well, that's not necessarily true. To give you an example, just briefly, when you see pharmaceutical ads, who do you see? You're not going to see a 15-year-old unless it's gearing towards youth. You're going to see someone maybe that's middle age, someone that is visually appealing, but still looks like an everyday person. Guess what? That person has gotten paid. And in fact, my first modeling contract was for $10,000 for a pharmaceutical ad. Absolutely, right? If I had to listen to society as to what a model is supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like, then I never would have been able to get that particular modeling contract. So that's that area of expertise where you will kind of learn. And then, of course, when COVID starts to subside, I always like to end the sessions, if we get a chance to do those multiple sessions, with the show for you to show your family and your friends as to what you learned. There's some acting aspects of it. You need to be able to speak on camera, like I'm on camera now. I had to go through training in order to do that, So those are a few things. And then I just now started incorporating some painting and painting in heels, right? Where it's paint canvases, so you to kind of, do your art. And then, for the best painting, and then I will incorporate a heel walking class, because I strongly believe that all women, and I'm not biased, if men want to learn how to walk in heels, they're welcome as well. But I strongly believe that all women need to know how to walk in heels. I'm sorry. Just one time in your particular life, I just want you to put on a pair of fierce heels and just slay, honey. Slay, slay, slay. So, to be able to teach that. So I'm very fun loving, and you will kind of tell me as to what track you want to go on, and then I can kind of lead you in that particular direction.
All of it sounds like so much fun. We are so excited. Ours is going to be coming at you beginning of September. Check out our calendar of events, everybody. What would you say is the biggest, if you had like one big takeaway you wanted everyone to have, like when they came out of your program? What's the one thing you want them to know, or the biggest thing?
That it's okay to be you. That's the biggest thing. I struggle with that. It was very painful. I'm very, outgoing now, but I struggled with self-esteem issues, like really, really bad, and to be perfectly transparent, you learn how to cope with that. But again, you always are inundated with different things in your particular life that kind of, makes you almost go back to where you were. But then you have to have those particular coping mechanisms to say, no, honey, I'm not going back to where I was in terms of being down on myself, because life situations happen. It doesn't necessarily have to be, like I said, with looks. It can maybe fail in a career, getting laid off, or, trying to build your business. Being an entrepreneur is a lot of hard work. And so it's not always about the outside. It can be an inward of you not believing in yourself. So I want people to be able to use that walking that I'm going to be teaching them to kind of manifest their destiny, no matter what that is. You want to start a business, or you want to do public speaking, go ahead and do it. You want to do acting, whatever it is that you desire, that you want to do, I am here to tell you that it's the first step for you getting comfortable with yourself. And understanding that even though you may make mistakes in life, you may fall down, that you can get back up. So it's not just about, like I said, being pretty. I want to try to, even though I'm not a therapist, right? I want to try to deal with the inner work as well, so you can go forth and be great. So the takeaway is it's okay to be you.
I have a feeling after hearing about this, there are going to be people who are already really excited to get started. Mm-hmm. How can people get involved and sign up for these classes and opportunities with you?
Sure. So I'm the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, at 3 p.m. So we're going to start there, and I would love to do, more classes there. I'm working on doing some other things at my spot at 7451 Madison Street, and working more with the community as well as the Forest Park District as well. So you can either come to my spot and book a session. You can book sessions through, a Forest Park library. You can book sessions when I start up with the Forest Park. It's no excuse not to come see me, okay?
She really is. I just ran into her at the back to school bash. She is really, truly everywhere. So everyone, I'm going to put a contact card at the end of this presentation when we air it. That'll have her contact information there for Model Esteem if you are looking into opportunities. Also some information about our upcoming opportunity at the library on that slide. And before we sign off, is there anything else you'd like our families to know about you and your business that we didn't get to touch on today?
Sure. I'm also all about entrepreneurship, as I mentioned before. I'm an accountant, right? So there's that area of, teaching people on how to be a business with their particular talent, right? Because at the end of the day, like, who makes a business teaching people how to walk? This girl here, right? And so it's all about, like I said, being comfortable with yourself, using the talent and whatever type of talent that you have. I'm also incorporating workshops in the space. So if you do art, or if you sing, or if whatever type of something that you love to do and you want to help and teach somebody else, you can also, contact me and we can create a workshop around that. So I'm all about community. I'm all about, doing things the community and having a community feel. You can contact me and reach my website at modelesteem.com. Susan is going to have that information. Need help? I would love to, assist in that particular area.
Fantastic. Thank you for speaking with us, Shettima. It was really lovely to spend this time with you. I will see you very soon in September, and we are going to be putting this out. This will be out on FPPL TV, and we'll be putting this out on Facebook as well. And like I said, right after we finish, I'm going to put up that little contact card at the end with all of that critical information, so you can follow up with Shettima and take advantage of these great opportunities out there in Forest Park. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing everybody. Thank you, Susan, so much. And thank you to the Forest Park Public Library. I really appreciate you guys.